Alright, let's get right into it. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin, but even more importantly than Bitcoin is the fact that almost all of our altcoins are pumping right now, guys. Starting with Ethereum and also Solana, Chainlink, Cardano, and Dogecoin, and many others. Basically, almost all the smaller cryptocurrencies are in an uptrend. And I'll talk about the possibility of this uptrend continuing, and I'll give you the exact target levels we could see for Solana and Cardano at the end of this video. We'll also discuss Ethereum's rise, especially now. As we've spoken before about the 4,600 resistance, it has now been broken strongly, quickly, and unexpectedly. And right now, Ethereum is recording above 4,600. I'll explain the next target and why Ethereum is most likely heading higher. As long as it stays above the support, we could see higher numbers than the all-time high level. But first, let's talk about Bitcoin. As I've mentioned previously in the old video, I told you that Bitcoin, if it manages to break the 120,000 level as support, we could see a strong rally above. And I've also taken a small long position once we've broken this 120k level. And based on that, when I saw this break, as I've said, we broke this level. And then earlier this morning, I took a small long trade based on the idea. And indeed, we saw a strong rally. Technically, this rally could still continue. If Bitcoin holds above 120,000, I expect it could now break towards a new all-time high and possibly even make a new all-time high right now in the following hours. Right now, Bitcoin looks strong and could push well above the 122k level, but I don't want to focus too much on Bitcoin today. Yes, Bitcoin is bullish, but the real opportunity when Bitcoin is strong is to take advantage of smaller altcoins. And first among them is Ethereum, which we've been tracking and profiting ever since it has bottomed at the 1300 level. We've been talking about Ethereum's strength, and that strength continues. We've now broken the 4600 level, and I want to explain the next steps. If Ethereum holds that level, we don't see any drop. I expect any moment we could head towards a new all-time high level at around the 4800 level. If we could close today strongly about 4600, I believe that it's just a matter of hours or days before we hit a new all-time high. But let me make this clear. Just because I'm saying we're bullish and likely to reach a new all-time high, that doesn't mean you should open a long position right now at the top. You're in a good support area now, but buying at an all-time high level is almost a mistake. Ethereum is one of the strongest coins right now, but buying at the very top is risky. If we see a pullback, say Ethereum fails to reach the all-time high, or even it drops below the 4600, then you could wait for a correction to the 4300 to 4200 level range as a better buying opportunity. Right now, yes, I'm bullish and I expect a new all-time high, but I couldn't recommend buying at the peak after such a strong rally. Anyone who've been following closely with the alerts, one should be already in profit. So the bullish targets for Ethereum, as long as we are above the 4600, are obviously the all-time high, then 5700, and then 6300. But I also want to touch on something important, and you might have seen it in the video title, which is when could the peak happen? When could we see the rally, and when could the drop start? Yesterday, the US inflation data came out much better than expected. Everyone was expecting a slight drop-off in inflation, but the numbers showed an even bigger improvement in the forecast, or rather than the forecast. This is a bullish news because add to that the economic Federal Reserve meeting on the September 17th, about a month from now, and we know that when inflation is falling, the Fed is more likely to cut interest rates. That means that more liquidity is going to enter the US economy, which is very bullish for risk assets like crypto. Most people would think, okay, the real rally will come after the Fed's announcement in mid-September. And October is historically also a bullish month, as they call it October. But here's my contrarian view. Since around 99% of traders and analysts now expect a rate cut, the market is likely to price it in before the announcement. In other words, buy the rumor, sell the news. Think about it this way. Say we have a confirmed Tesla leak that says that it's going to post much better than expected earnings. The stock will rally before the earnings date. When the actual news comes out, the price often drops because the good news was already priced in. That's why I believe you could see most of the rally happen before the Fed meeting and even before October even begins. Personally, if Ethereum rallies to the 5,700, sorry, to $7,000 in the next 30 days, I'll be looking to take some profits around early to mid-September before the CPI release, because by then I think a lot of people will have already bought in, expecting October to be bullish and the price to go even higher. However, it could actually then reverse. Of course, this isn't 100% guarantee, just my contrarian view based on the current data. Technically, Ethereum versus Bitcoin still has room for an upside of 44%, which could also push Ethereum against the US to $6,000 to $7,000. These are big numbers, but the charts support the possibility. Before I wrap up, I just want to quickly mention the targets for Solana and Cardano. Solana has been seeing a strong rally. I mentioned it back when it was at $150, and more recently during the live stream when it broke $177, and I said it looked similar to Ethereum's breakout before it broke out, from the 3,500 level. Since holding 177, Solana broke the 191. As long as it holds this level, I believe that the next target for Solana, as long as it's holding 190, is $217 to $230. Cardano is also looking bullish. If it breaks the 90 cents resistance, I expect a quick move to around $1.20. And that's it for today. Have a good day.